his mom and dad, Dan,
got to pay for it.
they've got to pay for it.
Getting one of these cost a boatload of these.
A boatload
So
of those.
So true.
Right?
So there's a new idea on how to pay for college tuition. What is it?
Would you be willing, Mike and Alex, as a student, to say, okay, I'm not going to pay tuition this year, but instead, I'm willing to pay a fixed % of my income after I graduate for a certain number of years?
Wow.
Would you be willing to take that risk, take that trade?
Whoa, what kind of percentage?
Yeah, well, see, here's the thing. So you got to be careful with this. It's called an income sharing agreement, or an ISA. And as you said, Michael, they've been around for actually a little bit, but they're just now starting to get a little bit of traction, a little bit of buzz in the college world. And here's how it works. Alex says, okay, I can't afford tuition. So an investor, it could be a private investor, it could be the college itself, it could be a part of the government, says, we're going to invest in you, Alex. We're going to front this money. We're going to pay your tuition. And in exchange, you're going to agree to pay us a fixed % of your income for a certain period of time. Let's say 5% of your income for 10 years after you graduate. Now, you can see how it's kind of a clever idea. So you're sort of investing in the student, right?
Yeah.
But you can also see how, well, it might not work out so well. It's good, potentially,
If you get a job.
Yeah.
if you
that's
get
a
a
big
job
thing.
and you're a student who's not going to make a whole bunch of money because you're not going to pay back a whole bunch of money. Remember, it's a fixed percentage of your income. It's not so great if you're a student that might be making a lot of money after you graduate, because guess what? You're going to wind up paying potentially more back than you ever had invested in you in the first place.
So it's not that you're paying up until it stops
No.
once you get, to that amount.
You nailed it. So essentially, you're going to be paying that fixed percentage for that number of years, let's say 10 years,
No
right?
matter what.
No matter what. So if you're in a low-paid occupation, you might wind up paying less than the investor put into you. If you're in a higher-paid occupation, like broadcasting, you're going to wind up paying a lot more back than you would
that
otherwise.
doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, why wouldn't you just pay back what you owed?
Yeah, so it's called an income sharing agreement, and as the name implies, you're sharing part of your income. The investor takes a risk because you may not be paying back everything the investor put in. You're taking a risk because if you do really well, you're paying back more than you received.
What happens if you can't get a job right out of college? Like, what do they
Investor
do?
loses. The investor,
You don't have to pay it back then?
Again, that's the investor's risk in this thing, right? Now, again, the investor can be a private investor, it can be the college, or it can be the government. They tried this in the state of Oregon. The state was actually going to, I think it was called the Pull It Forward program or Pay It Forward program. But the state looked at it, and the more they got into it, they said, you know what? This thing's potentially crazy expensive, a little toxic, we're not sure about it. They pulled back. So it's got some bells and whistles on it. Now, you can understand why people want to do this, right? As you said in the lead, the average private school, private college right now is about 34 grand a year.
Okay.
That doesn't include room and board. You put in room and board and a keg party, you're at 65 grand a year. It's like buying a brand new Lexus every year, driving off the cliff without insurance. So it's easy to understand why families are looking at these things.
If I owe money the first year and I don't have a job, how do I get away with just not paying them anything?
That's, again, that risk is on the investor, right? So, but the idea here is that investors clearly are going to look for those students who are good risks. What's your major?
So I've got to apply for this.
You've got to
pass tests.
Absolutely. Now that's where it gets a little controversial, because is it discriminatory against potentially students with lower paid majors, education majors, journalism majors,
art majors,
art majors, and maybe is it skewed toward those majors like engineering, computer science, accounting? Well, that's part of the controversy.
I would bet.
It is interesting. We're going to see more of this kind of stuff in the years coming because college is crazy expensive.
What do you call it again?
It's called an income sharing agreement, an ISA. It's just starting to get some buzz right now.
Thank you.
Dan.
You got it.